Hi, I'm Bridget Carey, and joining me today is senior editor Scott Stein, who has just completed a massive review of the best iPad games. And I checked out your list.
It's hard to boil down to 30.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. I went through them, and you can probably fit more than half in the category of strategy and puzzles. So over the years, where have you seen iPad games really shine and fall flat?
Well, you got me. I like strategy and puzzle games on the iPad. But the reason is that I think when you started out, and the iPad wasn't a big phenomenon yet, you had a lot of iPhone ports. And you're holding that thing in your hand, you've got virtual buttons, it's easier in your hands like this to tilt. And so it was easy to bring over to the iPad and look like that. You got more room for those virtual buttons, but they're harder to find. I find tilting and lifting the iPad a little more annoying. Not that it doesn't have some great versions out there, games like driving games and flight games, if you want to experiment with that. But I think the best games I've seen are the ones that take advantage of the puzzle elements, the ones that use all of your fingers and that large screen, and almost more like PC games. I think Angry Birds sealed the deal as far as the games that you see most likely on the store are going to be puzzle games, affordable puzzle games, so it tends to be that those are the majority of games that you see out there on the App Store.
Makes sense to put it on a table and play, because how many times do you want to lift that whole thing up to, steer or something?
Yeah, I think like for a few novelty games, I mean, especially if they're just a couple of bucks each, you may want to experiment with a couple, but I find that the rewards are limited for those.
Now, we're at the third generation iPad where you have the high-resolution Retina display. Is that really adding a lot to the game experience at this point?
Not a huge amount, but I almost think that's by design. It's sort of like the Nintendo 3DS doesn't really use 3D all the time. Maybe that's a bad example, but the iPad 2 is out there, and it's out there at the same time as the third gen iPad. So I think a lot of developers are making games that take advantage of both. But also those graphics, at Retina Display, if you're going to play 3D quality graphics, like shooters, first-person shooters, and racers, it's hard to get those graphics at Retina Display. You can't even do that on a laptop. So largely, the games that take advantage of it the best tend to be ones with static images, board games, 2D games. Not that there aren't some games like Airmail and Sky Gamblers, which are flight games, Real Racing 2. Some of them really show off that Retina Display. And you'd like to see it in all games, but it's not essential.
Now let's talk price, because app games on the iPad are known to be pretty cheap. You can get them for $5 or less, but you pointed out that Sid Meier's Pirates, if that was on a PC, it would cost at least twice as much. So is this culture of keeping the prices low discouraging these game developers from making better games and getting more money for them?
We look at Sid Meier's Pirates, and that is a PC game that got ported over, and it's also been on consoles, and the touch controls are really nice on it. I think if people think about making good, big games and then pricing them the way they want to price them, then I think you end up with maybe some higher quality games. Not that there aren't great games priced at just $1, but I think maybe some developers take the attitude of almost going scattershot, making a lot of small, low-budget games for $1 each, throwing them out there, see if one goes viral. And then you're also starting to see a lot of these games with in-app purchases, $1 here, $2 there. And I think that's an unfortunate trend. I think if you price a game well, you let the market figure it out, you can hit that sweet spot, maybe promote it for a while at a lower price. But you can definitely capable of making great games on an iPad. I think it's all about the mentality of, is it worth it for the price that you're going to charge?
Now, tablet and touchscreen gaming is its own genre now, thanks to the iPhone, the iPad. You're seeing it in the next Nintendo Wii U, where the controller has a touchpad. You're seeing Apple saying that you're going to be able to take your iPad game and port it to your television. Right. Microsoft's going to be teasing with this too, where you have two screens now in your tablet gaming environment. The controller is evolving. Are we going to be seeing better tablet games because of this push?
I think you will, because a lot of games are involving touch now. The Nintendo DS started it. You had the touch with the stylus, and then you saw iPhone games and iPad games. Now you've got Microsoft with Smart Glass. You've got the Nintendo Wii U, which is a very different concept, but it also has touch. The PlayStation Vita has touch. Almost all smartphones, tablets. You have Windows 8 computers coming out with touch. So I think so many devices are going to have touch that it's inevitable that game developers are going to think in terms of that. And so it's going to create better games with touch and probably a lot more cross-platform games.
Great point, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah.
For CNET, I'm Bridget Carey. Thanks for watching.